This is the Marvel Legends series from the movie Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four. First steps, we have the Silver Surfer. And I picked up this figure from my local Toys R Us store for about 25 bucks. Artwork looks fantastic. The figure looks very promising in packaging. My favorite characters from the movie were Silver Surfer and, of course, Sue Storm as the Invisible Woman. I love those characters, and I'm hoping to get the rest of the characters in this line. But for now, we're doing the Silver Surfer. And here is the Silver Surfer, Shalla-Bal, out of packaging. And this figure is terrific, you guys. A lot of the collectors out here in Manila have been ignoring this figure, leaving it on the pegs. For obvious reasons, everyone just wanted to get all the main cast, the Fantastic Four, rightly so. I mean, those are sold out right now in the first weekend. And they've been leaving the Flame On version, Human Torch, and this figure on shelves. Well, at least for those who still had stock. And this figure is the sleeper figure of the wave because it is one of the best female Marvel Legends figures I have ever seen. Now, early reviews I've seen on TikTok and on Instagram and on YouTube, a lot of collectors were frustrated with how to pose this figure. They say there's a lot of limitations. The way she's articulated, it's missing a lot of things to get her in some crucial poses. But I had a blast posing her. I took her out of packaging, and immediately I got her into a lot of poses fairly easily. And it was just a treat to pose this figure. I mean, she does have some flaws, I'll give it that, but overall, I generally enjoyed this figure. Now, a lot of collectors they weren't feeling the female Silver Surfer. I had no issues with it. I loved her. Julia Garner played a terrific Shalla-Bal in the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. It is way better than Superman, whatever that crap of a movie was. This movie will really change the way you look at the Fantastic Four. I know it has changed mine, but this figure, just gorgeous. I wasn't even sure about those pearlescent, silvery molded plastic, but it kind of works. Everything about this figure just works. Onto the details of the figure. As you can see, these are all that came with the figure. You've got the flight stand or the surfboard stand, which is like a wave of lava, like molten material. If you watch the film, you know where this thing came from, where Hasbro got the inspiration. Not gonna spoil it in this video, go watch the film. She comes with a surfboard, the Cosmic Surfboard, which it looks okay. I love the plastic that they chose for it. It's not super shiny, but it's shiny enough. I don't have an issue with the color. My biggest issue with this is if you've seen the movie, it's supposed to be like a very smooth, metallic, it's like an alien metal type of board with some design, yes, some lines. This one feels like it's a wooden board that's been painted in cosmic silver. That's my only gripe about this accessory, because I guess Hasbro designers did not have a lot to work with in the initial stages of production, and they probably thought this was like some wooden cosmic board, because that's what these striations look like. It feels like it's like a tree that's been taken out. Or I'm sure they wanted it to look like friction burns from just gliding into the depths of space, but that's the thing. The surfboard of the Silver Surfer does not have friction burns. It's very smooth, and if at all, it should have been just design striations, and that's my biggest gripe about it. But they'll probably come up with something new, something better when they re-release this figure, which I'm pretty sure they will. And then she comes with some hands. My favorite are obviously the ones right here. These are the basic recycled, just your average recycled splayed out hands that we've seen with a lot of Marvel Legends female figures. There's really nothing new to it. She does come with a pair of closed fists, which I'm not sure why they did that. Silver Surfer, at least Shalla-Bal, does not really need to use her fist. She doesn't punch things, she just grabs and pushes things, and mostly in open hands. And again, another unnecessary hand accessory is this one. It's like a cupping hand. And the reason they had this is so that you could display her carrying her board, which is really stupid. I'm sorry, Hasbro, this is stupid. The Silver Surfer does not carry her board or his board or their board, like coming out of the water from the beach. This is something I feel like they had extra plastic, they had extra budget, they didn't know what to do with it, and they probably felt it would be cool if you could display the figure holding the board. She can't even do it properly. I mean, she does have a hard time. The figure does have a hard time just trying to grip that board with this intended hand. And you know what? I really don't see the point of this. And let me see if I can just do it one last time. See, the board is just way too long. If you put it on the tapering end, I don't know if she can. Okay, I guess she can stand. Okay, but this is, sorry Hasbro, this is stupid. The Silver Surfer does not do this. The board levitates on its own. If at all, a stand would have been nice. Maybe one of your clear stands. This is obviously not from Hasbro. This is from Tamashii Nations, from the SH Figuarts line. So you could have the board there and you could have her standing. That's usually how the board should be displayed. So, I mean, we've seen some of their clear stands from Black Widow and all that. Maybe that's the thing they could have added with this one so that you could have a levitating board with her. But to have her hold it like this is just stupid. This is a waste of plastic in my opinion. This amount of plastic could have been used maybe to stretch the budget for another head sculpt. Maybe claw grabbing hands would have been the better choice, but it's a minor nitpick. I'm not complaining too much about it because the figure really looks great. It is made of this silvery marbled plastic, and if you see right here, there are some places where there's a little bit of streaks of gold streaks here and there. Even on her head sculpt, you can see there are some streaks of gray here and there. I was afraid that these streaks would have ruined the look of the figure, but they don't. I mean, if they weren't there, I would be okay with it, but I think having them there kind of makes the figure pop, so it's not plain silver. If Bandai or, I don't know, Mafex is planning to do a Shalla-Bal First Steps Silver Surfer, and they do her in vac metal, chrome, or silver, I would be all over that. I would love to see a sort of like a Captain Phasma, what Mafex did with Captain Phasma, or with Bandai, what they did with that chrome-plated armor. If they could do that with this figure, I'd be all over that. I'd probably get that in a heartbeat. You know, as long as it's like $100 or less, maybe $80, I'd probably do it. So yeah, another complaint I have is the peg holes underneath her feet. They fit okay. It's just that they love to just slide off. It's not a very tight fit, and I guess, you know what, it's fine. Had they made it too tight, it would have probably scratched the peg or something like that. And yeah, you just have to keep her balanced. So if you try and pose her with a flight stand, like the board is like going sideways, it might be difficult to keep her on the board because that peg hole is loose, is kind of loose. So yeah, you'd have to probably blue tack that or something like that. That's a minor complaint, but it's I guess a valid complaint on my part. So as far as articulation goes, this is a recycled, obviously a recycled female buck, which we've seen in figures like Phoenix, Jean Grey, I mean, Shadowcat, all the other previously released figures. So nothing new there. Head is on a ball joint, that is on a hinge. You've got a smooth rotating ball joint in the upper torso. This would have been nice had they given her some an ab hinge, an ab crunch right there. That would have allowed for better poses. I do get what the other collectors are saying, that the torso articulation, the ab crunch is a little absent. It would have been nice had they made a fuller rotation on that. But yeah, you know what? That would have probably ruined the sculpt. So I get where they were going there, but would have been nice if there was a hinge there. The shoulders go in and out, forward and backward 360. Another piece of articulation that would have been really helpful here would have been some butterfly joints, but you know what, it's an old torso, they probably didn't have budget for that. Bicep swivel, double hinged pinless elbow joints. That is great. That is one of the more remarkable things that they've done with this. They kept that pinless and double hinge and not the single hinge. Very, very good. The wrists go swivel, move up and down. She's got ball joint hinges on the hips. Not really do the splits, kind of do like 100 degrees, not 180. Kick forward, slightly backward because of the heavily sculpted glutes. One of my main issues with this old mold is that gluteal gap, which I like to call. But with this figure, it's not that apparent. It's not that pronounced. I mean, I can live with that, but it is there. That's one of my major concerns with this mold. And I wish Hasbro would find a way to just remold these hips so that it would fit more nicely, more evenly, like what they did with Storm, the two-pack Storm figure, which has the slightly curved gluteal portion here. That would have been really nice if they could do that more often with these female bucks. The thigh is on a swivel, a little loose on my copy. It's a shame. Pinless double hinge knees, again, very cool. If it had pins, it would have ruined the sculpt. And then no cut on the boot or calf swivel, that's fine. Ankles go up and down and have the rocker tilt. I think the bare feet foot sculpts, I think these are new. Somebody let me know if this has been recycled. Maybe it's going to be used for Shana. I don't know, but they're pretty new to me, at least from the figures I've collected. For some size comparisons, here she is with your typical 6-inch Marvel Legends figure. We've got the Maximum Series Spider-Man, as well as with other female figures in my collection. From the G.I. Joe Classified Series line, we've got Jinx, and from the SH Figuarts line by Bandai Namco, from The Mandalorian, or from the show Ahsoka, we've got Ahsoka Tano. So as far as her scale is, she's not that small. I was expecting this to be a very small figure, but she's not. She's right about there, perfect for the 1/12 scale. And before we close out this video, I just wanted to point out that the major selling point for this figure for me is this fantastic head sculpt, pun intended. The hair sculpt I thought was going to be very tricky. I thought that was going to ruin the sculpt, but it doesn't. It's actually one of the main highlights of this sculpt. Gorgeous hair, and it doesn't impede much of the articulation for the head sculpt. It's really great, and that likeness to Julia Garner's expression on them in the movie, and the facial likeness to her, to the actress, is just uncanny. I mean, look at this. The way the eyes have been painted, that lipstick or cosmic lipstick that they've applied onto her lips, the mascara, the eyeshadow, the cosmic makeup that they have on her. Unbelievable. Really the major selling point for this figure. And so some final thoughts. I really enjoyed this figure. I had a great time posing it. She's not that difficult to pose. If you're wondering, you just have to, expand your creativity. Don't limit your posing to her being pegged on that peg hole. There are ways to get her in amazing dynamic poses. Sure, the articulation is limited. I wish that torso could have had an ab crunch, better extra articulations on the shoulders with butterfly joints. It could have been this and that, but as it is, I think it's enough. I think it's sufficient. One of my biggest complaints is really the board. I wish it would have been made in a smoother type of mold. It was molded not like to look like wood or had some friction burns. Just smooth and with striations. That would have been really, really nice. Maybe an extra head sculpt instead of extra hands. That would have been really cool, but then again, she doesn't really have a lot of expressions in the movie. Maybe a screaming look, maybe an angry look. Maybe that would have been cool. But I guess all the budget went to that wave, that lava molten material wave. So, okay. As it is, I think it's a very, very good figure. It's one of the strong figures in the wave, and I highly recommend it. Do not just pass up on this thing thinking that, oh man, it's a female Silver Surfer. I'm okay not having her in my collection. She was really great in the movie. I loved how the actress portrayed this character, and this figure is equally amazing. Please give it a second look. One of the stronger figures in the wave, a sleeper figure in the wave. This figure is going to get, because of my complaints, I don't think it would be fair to give it a 10 out of 10. But a 9.5 out of 10 might be just an injustice to this figure. So if you'll allow me to give it a 9.8 or a 9.9 rating, very close to perfection. just a little bit more would have made this figure an epic figure. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this new Marvel Legends from the movie The Fantastic Four, The First Steps. Shalla-Bal as the Silver Surfer. Hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.